Chapter 7 and Song 7 Summary. Philosophy adds that fame and renown aren't worth having either, since the region you occupy is tiny compared to the rest of the world, and since your lifetime is so brief compared to eternity. Chapter 7. Then I protested, "You know yourself that ambition for worldly success has hardly swayed me. Instead, I looked for a chance to serve politically so that virtue wouldn't shrivel for lack of exercise." Then she answered, "The one thing that can attract minds which, though noble, have not yet put the finishing touch on the perfection of their virtues, is love of glory and fame for high services rendered to the common good. And yet, consider with me how wretched and weightless this glory is. The whole of this earth's globe, as you have learned from the demonstration of astronomy, compared with the expanse of heaven, is no bigger than a speck. That is to say, if measured by the vastness of heaven's sphere, it occupies absolutely no space at all. Now, of this so insignificant portion of the universe, living creatures known to us inhabit only about a quarter of it, as Ptolemy's proofs have taught us. If from this fourth part you take away in thought all that is covered by seas and marshes, or the vast waste of waterless desert, only a minuscule area is left for human habitation. You, then, who are shut in and imprisoned in this fraction of a speck's space, do you focus on spreading your fame abroad, on increasing your renown? Why, what splendor or magnificence does glory have when confined to such petty limits? Besides, the narrow bounds of this hemmed-in dwelling-place are inhabited by many nations, differing widely in speech, in customs, in manner of life. To many of these, because of the difficulty of travel, differing languages, and lack of trade, the fame not only of individuals but even of cities cannot reach. Why, in Cicero's days, as he himself somewhere points out, the fame of the Roman Republic hadn't yet crossed the Caucasus Mountains, and yet by that time the Parthians and other eastern nations feared her name. See then how narrow, how confined is the glory you work so hard to spread abroad and extend. Can the fame of a single Roman march in where the glory of the Roman state cannot? Furthermore, the customs and institutions of different races disagree, so that what is deemed praiseworthy in one country is thought punishable in another. For that reason, if anyone loves the applause of fame, it will not profit him to publish his name among many nations. So each must be content to have the range of his glory limited to his own people. The splendid immortality of fame must be confined within the boundary of a single race. Once more, how many of high renown in their own times have been lost in oblivion because no one recorded their deeds? Indeed, what can written records accomplish when the darkness of time will eventually obscure them along with their authors? But you, when you think about future fame, imagine that you are preserving your own immortality. Yet, if you scan the infinite spaces of eternity, what room is left for rejoicing in the durability of your name? In truth, if you compare a single moment's space with 10,000 years, it has a certain relative duration, however little, since each period is definite. But this same number of years, yes, and a number many times as great, cannot even be compared with endless duration. For you can compare finite periods with each other, but not a finite with an infinite. So it comes to pass that fame, no matter how wide a space of years it covers, if you compare it to never-shrinking eternity, seems not just short-lived, but altogether nothing. But as for you, you do not know how to act appropriately, unless it is to wet your finger to the popular breeze and win the empty applause of the multitude. No, you abandon the nobility of conscience and virtue, and seek reward from the gossip of others. Let me tell you how wittily someone mocked the shallowness of such arrogance. A certain man ridiculed one who had called himself a philosopher so he could satisfy his own conceit, not so he could practice true virtue, and added, Now I'll know if you are a philosopher, if you can calmly and patiently endure insults. The other for a while pretended to be patient, and after accepting the insults for a while, cried out derisively, "Now do you see that I am a philosopher?" The other, with biting sarcasm, retorted, "I would have, if you had held your tongue." Furthermore, what concern do the best people have, for it is them we are talking about, those who seek glory by virtue, what concern, I say, do they have with fame after their bodies grow lifeless in death? For if people die both body and soul, which our studies forbid us to believe, there is no such thing as glory at all, since the one who was called glorious no longer exists. But if the mind, joyfully conscious of its own existence, is released from its earthly prison and seeks heaven in free flight, does it not despise all earthly things when it rejoices in its deliverance from earthly bonds and enters into the joys of heaven? Song 7. Glory Will Not Last. Oh, let him who pants for glory's bounty, thinking glory all in all, look and see how wide the heavens open, earth's enclosing bounds how small. Shame it is if your proud swelling glory cannot fill this narrow room. Why then strive so vainly, O you proud ones, to escape your mortal doom? Though your name to distant regions lauded through the world be widely spread, though unnumbered lofty sounding titles on your house their glory shed, death despises all this pomp and glory when he swings his sickle high, harvests both the exalted and the humble, levels lowest and most high. Where are now the bones of staunch Fabricius, Brutus, Cato? Where are they? The few carved letters are their only fame. Names alone are on display. But to know the great dead is not given from a noted name alone. No, you all alike must lie forgotten. It's not you that fame makes known. Imagine not that your life's brief moment will be lengthened by fame's breath. There awaits you, when this, too, is taken, at the last, a second death.